Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm just here in the studio and I thought we would talk about the parts of ballet that no one talks about or rarely talks about. I have a list of 7 things that I'm going to cover today. They are body hair, periods, income, underwear, sharing costumes, sweaty partners, and dancing with exes. Just so you have a little bit of an overview of what I will be covering today. I've definitely gotten comments and questions about these things, so I thought I would just go ahead and make a video about it because I rarely see any ballet dancers really talking about this. I of course have to put a disclaimer here in the beginning. Please don't get mad at me or target your frustrations and anger at me in the comments. I am just the messenger for the way that things are in the ballet industry. I'm basically just sharing with you information if you want to know it. And if you're curious, whether you're a dancer or not, I know a lot of people are curious about the ballet world. So let's just get started. First of all, body hair. So if you've seen ballet dancers anywhere on stage or in a ballet studio, you've probably noticed that you don't see any body hair. Body hair is not something that's accepted in the ballet world, so you need to get rid of it, essentially. Usually it's kind of something that's unspoken. Teachers don't really tell the students, in my experience, at least not very commonly. So once you start getting body hair, when you go through puberty, you are pretty much expected to get rid of it. I also should have included this in the disclaimer, but I am going to be speaking mostly on training in professional ballet schools to go pro and the professional ballet world. I'm not talking about the recreational side of ballet where things are a lot more lax. So back to the body hair, the way that dancers most commonly get rid of body hair is through, of course, shaving, waxing, and laser hair removal. Really, you're expected to have any body hair that shows removed. So underarms, your legs not so much, unless you are doing a piece with no tights. I don't think I've ever seen leg hair on ballet dancers. Your bikini line needs to be clean because you can see it through your tights when you're lifting up your leg, when you have a tutu on and you're performing. And sometimes there are contemporary pieces that will do with no tights. Arms don't matter, so basically it's legs depending, definitely bikini line and underarms. Moving on to number 2, periods. So a lot of ballet dancers are on birth control and they don't get a period. It's also common for ballet dancers to lose their period because of under-eating and over-exercising. I'm not saying that this is good. I'm not saying that this is healthy. I'm not saying that this is something you should strive for. It's actually very unhealthy and you should be having a normal, regular period. I'm just telling you the way that it is. For us ballet dancers that do get a regular period, the most common things to wear are tampons and those menstrual cups. I personally wear tampons if you want to know what I do. Yes, we have to work on our periods. Yes, we still have to take class, rehearse, perform. And yes, it can be very, very difficult. If you have really bad cramps, it doesn't matter. You just have to take some medication, suck it up and do it, is basically the way that it goes. I also want to mention for all my young dancers that it is still very common for us to leak through our tights and leotard as professional dancers. It's not something that just happens when you're a teenager or a student. It's something that is very human and normal. So you are not alone. If this happened to you, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You just go to the restroom, clean yourself up. You either wash your tights in the sink with a little bit of soap if you don't have an extra pair, or you change into an extra pair. I recommend always bringing an extra pair of tights and leotard in your ballet bag in case this does happen. Moving on to number 3, income, basically money. I could probably make like a 10-part series on money, income, etc. in ballet, but I'm gonna try to keep it short. Ballet dancers don't make a lot of money. 99% of ballet dancers don't make a lot of money. I have some examples for you. I'm sure you're interested in some of the numbers, like specifics. So I'm gonna keep it anonymous, but one of my friends, she is at a big company in the US, and also, I'm just talking about the US. I'm not talking about outside of the United States because ballet is much more supported in other countries. But here in the United States, I have a friend that's in one of the top companies in the country, and she was or is making $1,000 a week. So that's $4,000 a month. You take away the taxes, and it's one of the top companies, like I mentioned, in the country, so it is in a big city. $4,000 minus the taxes is not going to cover your rent, let alone your monthly expenses. So even at one of the top companies here in this country, it is very difficult to get by, and you basically cannot live off of your one income as a ballet dancer. This is why most ballet dancers in companies have second and third jobs outside of being a ballet dancer. Now, the $1,000 a week is actually on the higher end of what most ballet dancers make. I know a small company where the principal dancers, which is the very top rank of the company, make $500 a week. This is also in a big city, and that's $2,000 a month, and obviously cannot live off of that. And then getting better to worse, most of the time the young dancers, you're not paid. I mean, you have to go through years before you're even paid in some of the smaller companies. And once you do get paid, it's not uncommon to be paid anywhere from $50 to $150 or $200 a week. I remember being offered that pay when I was just starting out as well, and I remember thinking, like, this is barely enough to cover like the gas in my car and groceries. Maybe you're shocked to hear that information, maybe you're not, but yeah, we're not in ballet for the money, because there really is no money in ballet. We're in it because we love it and it's our passion, but you definitely have to find another way to make money if you want to live comfortably. And if your parents are not helping you, it's pretty common for parents of ballet dancers to kind of help them through their careers, since it is hard to make enough money. Now, I'm sure there are some of the bigger companies in this country that do pay their dancers enough to live off of. I've just never heard of it being very common, but I don't want to speak for all of the companies. There are some that probably pay their dancers somewhat fairly, but I'm just speaking in general terms here. Now, as a freelance dancer, income is different. So obviously I'm like an independent contractor in a way. So I don't dance for a ballet company, therefore I'm not on a salary. I get paid per performance usually. I set my rate, I negotiate with them, I sign the contract. All of that is done on my terms. I am kind of in charge of all of that. Freelancing alone is still not going to be paying all of the bills. That is why I supplement my income with social media, and I will be making more videos separate from this one with how to monetize your social media, kind of share with you my experience on how I did it, but primarily my income comes from social media, not from ballet. But with that being said, I do not take any free gigs. I don't dance for free, and I don't take very super low paying gigs, because I do have people offer me like $200, $300 per show, and that's just not enough for the hours that I put into it, and for my experience level, it's not something that I'll take. So that's kind of just like a summary on how the income and the money works as a freelance dancer. One is not better than the other, being in a company, being a freelancer. It's just what you want. There's pros and cons to both. I feel like I'm missing some things on this topic, but if you want a more in-depth video, I can do a separate one, although I have done one in the past. I think it's called Money in Ballet or something, if you want to go watch that video. My fourth topic today is underwear. I know that might sound really random, but I get so many people asking me. Honestly, I think it's mostly young dancers asking about what do you wear underneath your tights and leotard. Generally speaking, in the professional world of ballet, there's no underwear. We don't wear underwear. Our leotards are like a swimsuit, if you want to think of it that way. You don't wear underwear with your swimsuit. There are some dancers that will wear nude thongs, professional dancers. But generally we just wear our tights and leotard. It's just the way that it is. You don't want to see your underwear hanging out. So if you're a student and you're wondering, this is how the professionals do it, we don't wear underwear in ballet. I'm sure there's some exceptions, and I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comments, but that's generally how it is. Next topic is sharing costumes. So some of the things that people don't talk about in ballet, and this is mostly when you're in a company or in a ballet school with a lot of people, you share costumes. So you are both fit to the same costume, and you don't have to have the same measurements. Generally, they'll choose people to share costumes that are around the same size and height because of the length as well, if it is a romantic tutu. But in the back, there are different hooks, different lines of hooks, depending on how big or small you are. But the thing that no one really talks about is that a lot of times on double show days, or if there are a lot of performances in a week and you're sharing costumes, the costume may still be sweaty from the person before and you have to wear it after them. So when I was training in a ballet school, I remember we had double show days. So you have a ballet performance at say noon or 1 p.m. and then you have another show at 7 p.m. on the same day. And if I was sharing a costume with someone and I had to wear it in the night show, it would still be sweaty from the show before. Even though they are set out to dry, it just wasn't enough time. And don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about this, but it's not the most pleasant thing in the world. Kind of on the same topic of sweat is sweaty partners. So one thing about ballet is that you have to be so incredibly comfortable with your ballet partner when you're doing a pas, because we sweat so much when we're dancing, especially under the stage lights and in the costumes, but even in the studio. And you cannot be grossed out by each other's sweat. You have to be comfortable with each other, dancing with each other that way. I have a specific memory of one of my partners. We were dancing the white swan pas, and every single time in rehearsal, there's this part where Odette is resting her head on my partner, basically. So I was resting my head on my partner's face, and we're kind of swaying each other, and he's embracing me. And I just remember he was dripping sweat and I was dripping sweat. And I remember his sweat just like meshing onto my face. It's just like, you can't let it affect you. I know some people are kind of like more grossed out by those things, but in ballet, you just can't be, unfortunately. There's a lot of sweat. We're working hard, you're touching each other, and you have to stay in character. So you have to get very comfortable with your partners and with the possibility of sweat transfer throughout any dances. And the last topic I have for today on my little list here is dancing with exes or dancing with someone that you are dating and you are mad at each other. I've personally never dated a dancer ever in my life, but I have definitely seen this play out, and I have heard stories. I've also heard stories from my teacher. It can get really messy when you are dating within the ballet company or with ballet dancers or who you're dancing with or performing with. It is absolutely inevitable. It happens all the time. But it can be messy. People date each other and then they break up, and then it can just cause a lot of drama. Anyways, you are supposed to obviously leave that outside and be just professional in the studio. But what I wanted to say is that yes, sometimes you have to dance romantic pas, romantic pieces, romantic ballets with an ex that maybe you are not so fond of, or maybe you feel really hurt by them. Just a lot of big emotions, and you literally have to fake it, completely fake it, because a lot of these ballets, you are in love with this person, or you're supposed to be showing that you are in love with this person. So either you're dancing with an ex, maybe it didn't end well, or you are dancing with someone that you're in a relationship with and you got in a big fight that morning and you're so mad, and now you have to do like Giselle with them, you know? It can be very difficult. I've seen it. And the other part of it is sometimes you're dating someone in the company and you are fully in love with them, and then they are cast to do a romantic ballet with another girl or another person. And that can be really difficult too, because like I said, they are really romantic ballets and you have to watch your boyfriend or husband do this romantic ballet with another person. Sometimes there's kissing. I mean, Romeo and Juliet, the ballet, is incredibly romantic and beautiful and gorgeous, if I might add. But that is a big aspect in ballet, mostly in ballet companies, just because you're around so many people and there's a lot of dating involved. But not too many people talk about this. I think it's something that we as dancers just know and forget that other people outside of the industry don't know about this and maybe have never heard about it. So that is it for my list. I have a little post-it here. I hope this gave you some more insight on the ballet world and the ballet industry. And like I said, please don't be mad at me. I am just the messenger. And also, if you made it this far, I'm gonna tell you where my leotard is from and my outfit, because I think I'm gonna get comments on that. So this leotard is from Freed USA. My little wrap is from Bodil. My leg warmers are from Rubio Wear. My booties are from Repetto. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you later.